Moses Moody, how did it feel to get yet another DNP in tonight's Warriors game?
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, I totally understand. The Golden State Warriors, your team just wrapped up an 8-game homestand. You started with 5 incredible wins. Most of them were thrillers. Sometimes they came at the very end on buzzer beaters. But then you finish up the homestand with a 3-game losing streak. How does that feel?
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, I hear you. It totally does suck. It does suck when the reigning, defending world champions, a team that already is marred by the worst road record in the NBA, can't find security at their own confines. A 3-game losing streak now, all at Chase Center. I'm going to try to find some positives. I don't know how you can, but we're going to break it all down. The Warriors are certainly in some trouble. That's going to be the show. Are there positives? We'll find out next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Twitter at Dog Surf Roadshow. The chat is huge right now. Andre, you write something peculiar. Andre FRBK writes, I'm sick of the young guys, but none of the young guys play tonight. Jonathan Kuminga has been out, I believe 3 games is what he's missed so far with a foot sprain. James Wiseman has missed, I believe, a similar amount of games with an ankle sprain. Moses Moody was a DNP tonight. Patrick Baldwin Jr., another young fellow you might be referring to, was a DNP tonight. Moses, how does that feel when you're DNP'd?
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks. I don't blame you. That's just how it feels. So I don't understand how you can be sick of the young players when they're not playing at all. Ryan Rollins was assigned to Santa Cruz before these games. You say the young guys are unplayable. Well, whoever is left has caused a 3-game losing streak. The Warriors in the last game were outscored in the paint. I'm referring to the Orlando Magic, 52-26. Tonight against the Phoenix Suns, a team the Warriors now have a 3-game losing streak to. The Warriors were outscored in the paint 48-34. The Phoenix Suns annihilated them inside the paint. Bismack Biyombo, a player that going way back, I'm talking like a year and a half ago, maybe close to 2 years, I was advocating strongly, and a few of my friends were as well, and colleagues have been on the show for the Warriors to pick him up as a backup big. They didn't. The Phoenix Suns eventually signed him. He was unemployed, just sitting at home doing who knows what. And tonight, in just 17 minutes of play, grabs 8 points, 8 rebounds. Torrey Craig, their small forward, 12 points, 14 rebounds. Dario Saric, a player that was active only because the Phoenix Suns themselves were incredibly depleted, with DeAndre Ayton out, Devin Booker out, Chris Paul out. God, there's like one other guy I'm drawing a blank on. So Saric is playing. He scores 19 points, grabs 9 rebounds. Mikal Bridges, for some reason, can just feast on the Golden State Warriors now. It seems like every time they play, he makes everything. Tonight, he was 26 points, grabbed 9 rebounds. Damian Lee. And I'm going to pose this question. If anyone has an answer, why is Damian Lee playing for the Phoenix Suns? Why did the Golden State Warriors just say bye-bye to Damian Lee? He only costs the veteran minimum. That is one of my great mysteries that I don't think anyone has an answer to. I mean, look, he frustrated a lot of people last year, but if you forgot, the reason why he frustrated people last year was because he was taking minutes away from the youngsters that a lot of people wanted to see play. So the Warriors don't sign him. He goes to the Phoenix Suns for a veteran minimum deal and gets his ring tonight by I believe Steph Curry, his brother-in-law, was part of the ceremony. And Damian Lee tonight eats up the Warriors, 22 points, a perfect 14 for 14 from the line. He also grabbed 7 rebounds. I still don't understand why the Warriors did not re-sign him. I don't understand why they didn't re-sign him. Juan Toscano-Anderson, who, look, great bench player, great chemistry guy, so actual player on the court, but I would not have minded him right now during a spell like this. I mean, I feel like his veteran presence would have been helpful. I just so much of what's been going on this year is befuddling. But anyways, watching Damian Lee eat up the Warriors, that one kind of stunk. So the Warriors are in trouble. The Warriors are in trouble. I mean, I don't know how you can spin it otherwise. This is officially the 41 game mark of the season, which means it's the midway point. And if you're, I mean, look, the part that I know is going through Bob Myers and company's heads right now is we were missing James Wiseman. We were missing Jonathan Kuminga. 2 players that, granted, we've shown very little respect to with all the DMPs and the limited minutes, but those are 2 of our biggest guys. And so James Wiseman would have helped in a situation like tonight. And Orlando. Again, they got outscored in the paint 52-26 by Orlando. That they got doubled in the paint. And then tonight, it was 48-34 against the Phoenix Suns. It's better, but you still got annihilated. That literally was the difference. The Warriors lost this game 125-113. So, in future shows, and this is where it's hard for me to agree with comments like this. Isaiah in the comments writes, Wiseman is a bust, but how can you call him a bust if he never plays? I have a hard time casting judgment on any of these lottery picks until we get extended runs from them. Now, Wiseman's injured right now. That's why he missed, I believe, his 3rd game in a row with a bad ankle. And the last report off him from the Warriors, this came from the medical staff. They said they were going to reevaluate him in a week. I believe that was 3 or 4 days ago. But it's hard for me to label these younger players anything when they're never playing. I mean, I refuse to see James Wiseman on the same level as, say, like a Marvin Bagley Jr., who, like, you don't see much just because he's blatantly bad. Like, he's just a blatantly bad player. When you talk about a bust, and the Kings took Marvin Bagley before Luka Doncic, that's a bust. Like, that's a really hard thing to swallow if you're the Kings, and who just gave him away for basically nothing. I don't see Wiseman in that same category. I have to see him play, but he's hurt. Kuminga's hurt. And the bottom line is the Warriors have an open roster spot. The Warriors have trade assets. JaMychal Green is another player who is polarizing, but they could have used him in a game like tonight. They could have used him against Orlando. He does show up sometimes. He is a tough rebounder, solid interior presence, sadly not coming through as a 3-point shooter. And iQuest, you write in the chat, why was Moody not on the court? Was he injured? No. Moody just was DNP'd, and when Moody's asked how that feels,
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks. I don't blame him. By the way, that clip is from Moody about a month ago. In fact, why don't I play that clip real quick before I go to our first spot here? This was about a month ago. Moses Moody was asked of the challenges of having to constantly stay ready, right? His teammates have praised him for his work ethic, for his performance in practice. This is true. His teammates have said this. Even his own head coach has said this. Then his head coach turns around and doesn't play him. This was Moody about a month ago. I have to play this again because it goes to show that these DNPs do have an impact on these players. And this was the question asked and Moody's reaction, again, to the challenge of all these DNPs having to stay ready despite that.
I mean, what specifically, how do you manage those challenges of, like, knowing that you're ready, but then going, I think you only played you didn't play in 3 of the last 4 games, but, like, going through those stretches where you're not playing?
I mean, it sucks. But that's the situation. It is. I just gotta be the best person I can be. Work on what I can work on. Outside of that, make sure I'm ready for it whenever my name gets called, and then and just go out there every day, because like you all can see at any time, I can get thrown in the game, and then I got to get out there and play. And even when I'm not, I get to be an NBA player every day. So just getting out there and supporting my team and try to get wins.
Good attitude, man. That's all you can say. That's all you can do. Eddie 757 writes, we could have used a little PBJ tonight. Yeah, that was a weird DNP. PBJ has been an absolutely pleasant surprise for the few of you out there who are confused by that acronym. Patrick Baldwin Jr., peanut butter and jelly. And he was a DNP tonight. Just did not play. Kerr, for whatever reason. I hope someone in the press pool asks him about that, because I'm certainly curious. And then I was looking back to the Orlando Magic game. He did play 15 minutes in that game, had 9 points on 3 of 6 shooting from beyond the arc. That's only 50%. That's not too shabby. But then for some reason in the Suns game, DNP. I don't know why that is. But I'm going to play some sound from Steve Kerr when we come back, because he did talk about how tonight's loss was tough, how it sucked, and how maybe it was a wake-up call for this team. Now, I don't know why 41 games in is when the team needs a wake-up call. You're a game below 500. The Warriors have the worst road record in the NBA. They've squandered the best home record in the NBA. Look, Stephen Curry's back. That's awesome. Andre Iguodala's back. I don't know if that's awesome, because Izal so far is just not doing much on the court. It is very early. Andrew Wiggins looks like the rust is not shaken off yet. We'll talk about that and so much more. There's a lot to discuss. First, got to talk about Built Bar. These are protein bars that clearly the Phoenix Suns and the Magic and the Pistons all gobbled down before they played the Warriors. And clearly the Warriors forgot to eat their Built Bars. Look, these are delicious treats that don't have all the fat and calories you're trying to avoid, so you can stay skinny or healthy or looking good, feeling good. You got to try Built Bars for a lot of reasons. First of all, they're covered in 100% chocolate, the real deal. Yet despite that, on average, each Built Bar only has 130 calories, and it only has 4 grams of sugar. And sugar is awful for you. It is absolutely one of the put in your body, and it's only got 4 grams of that. One of the best things you could put in your body, relatively speaking, in moderation, of course, is protein, and Built Bars are packed with those, on average 17 grams. And now you don't have to order your boxes online at Built.com. You can go down to Walmart, you can go down to Sam's Club. It's available at both places. Go check out Built Bars. Again, look what it's done for the Phoenix Suns. Look what it's done for the Orlando Magic, for the Detroit Pistons, and Moses Moody. What happens if the opposing team eats a Built Bar?
It sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks. So you folks should be the ones eating the Built Bar. By the way, I'm kidding about the other teams eating their Built Bars. That's a joke, but seems like they did. Try some Built Bars. They're yummy. They're delicious, and they're pretty damn good for you.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. So what's going on in the chat? I want to see what's going on here. See if anyone's bringing something that I should be touching on before I play this Steve Kerr soundbite. Amazing quality control. LTD writes, we lost to 2 of the East Conference bottom teams, and against the Suns team, excuse me, without 4 of their starters. No improvement since that horrible first East Coast road trip. I wouldn't say no improvement. Obviously Jonathan Kuminga has drastically improved. I feel like they're missing him tremendously in these games, simply because he's really emerged as a 6'8" Adonis type athlete who seems to be focusing a lot more now on rebounding and defense than he previously did. And that's what the Warriors need. So his absence has been notable. James Wiseman's finally starting to come around. His absence notable. I know Wiseman especially doesn't play much, but even those 8 to 10 minutes does help the Warriors. It spells some of their other veterans, giving them a breather when they need it. And Looney tonight, I don't think handled those bigs well either. Looney's stat line tonight, he played 21 minutes. So Kerr did have a bit of a leash on him. He only scored 1 point. And that was a free throw. He missed the other one. And he did grab 8 rebounds. Here's Steve Kerr talking about the loss tonight. And I'm glad he said something. Curious to see. Actually, you know what? Let's play this soundbite first. We got a couple of them. This one is Steve Kerr taking responsibility for not having the Warriors ready to play tonight. Oh, that's a sound clip I'm very intrigued in. So why don't we play that right now? So this is Steve Kerr, again, taking responsibility for not having the Warriors prepared for tonight's disappointing loss.
You guys really kind of cranked it up defensively in the fourth, pressed them, and got back in the game. And I know obviously you can't do that all game, but why do you think it took so long to get any type of defensive juice out there?
Yeah, I mean, I take responsibility for that. I clearly didn't have our guys ready to play, and that's my fault. I've got to do a better job of, giving them the slap in the face that Phoenix gave us, in the first quarter. Like these games they always go like this. A team's got a bunch of starters out, and then all the guys who normally don't play much, they can't wait to get out there. A guy like Saric comes out and just, kicks our butt. And these are all NBA players. These guys, are all great players. This is the league. There's no easy days in the league. So I think the combination of that dynamic and then us getting some guys back and trying to find our rhythm, it really got us off to a slow start. But I did like the fact that we competed in that fourth quarter and fought like crazy, because sometimes in this league you forget how hard it is to win a game. It's really hard to win an NBA game. And the difference between winning and losing is like that. It's, one team has the edge emotionally, like Phoenix did, and they set a tone right away. That's all it takes. They made 14 threes and got 20 offensive rebounds because they were the more aggressive team, the more confident team. So I'm hoping that that fourth quarter was the team that I have come to know and love and recognize. But we have to show that in the first quarter, not in the fourth quarter. And it's my job to try to get that out of them.
Yeah, so there you go. That was Steve Kerr basically acknowledging. And by the way, we'll be on the Krug show after this. Nick J, who just wrote in the chat. So there's Kerr acknowledging again that the team did not seem prepared. Took the blame. Good for you, coach. He was right about the fourth quarter. The Golden State Warriors just suddenly, it was like a whole new gear that they hadn't gone into the whole game. Suddenly it looks like they were like trying. I think their pride started kicking into play because that they were on the verge of 3 losses in a row to the Phoenix Suns. It's especially a Suns team that was missing so many players of their own. I mean, it's so easy to make excuses for the Warriors missing Wiseman and missing Kuminga. But I mean, the Suns, again, their starting center, DeAndre Ayton's out. Devin Booker, the best player's out. Chris Paul, their leader, is out. And Cam's also out for a while. I mean, they're missing so many players. The Warriors have no excuses for this. No cap 757. That was not Zach Lowe who made the trade. We've talked about that trade on this show. It was Bobby Marks who proposed that trade on his show of James Wiseman and Moses Moody for PJ Washington and Mason Plumlee. That's a trade, again, I would not be opposed to. I think that's a trade that if the Warriors were to then keep PJ Washington long term, I'd be stoked on that. But I'm also like, I'm not giving up on Wiseman or Moody yet, just because I can't do it. Like some of you out there, and look, I'm not sitting here judging you, but I don't just blindly trust Steve Kerr. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. Like, he's a great coach. I'm far from calling for his head. That's not at all what I'm doing here. But he's the head coach of a professional team. His team's a game under 500. They're struggling in a pursuit of a repeat world championship. You're absolutely susceptible to criticism when you're in a position like that. And the team is underperforming this year. Kerr was given a roster by this team that, yes, had a lot of young pieces to it, but he also got Dante DiVincenzo, who is awesome. JaMychal Green, who is disappointing, no doubt. And this is the result right now is just absolutely mediocre. This is not great. So I'm glad Kerr is taking some responsibility for that. It's just hard to just call for the heads of these youngsters, given the fact they're just never given a chance, and every time they are given a chance, I feel like they do great. When you actually leave them out there for 25, 30 minutes, they do produce. The team usually wins. On the next show, I won't be back until next week. Kylan Mills will fill in on the last shows. I don't know if she's going to have a guest or what's going on, just because I'm going under the knife for my face, this crazy mole. Anyway, so, but I will do some research in terms of what the Warriors' records are when Kuminga plays, when Moody plays, when Wiseman plays, and when they don't. I'm actually curious to see their individual impacts, and I'll do some comprehensive research on the next show for that. I'm going to have some more Steve Kerr sound when I come back, just because he did also talk about how hopefully this loss was a wake-up call. I want to talk about Steph Curry's first game back after missing 11 games. Solid performance for a player who's coming back from an injury that was new to him. He's admitted repeatedly that shoulder injury was something he was very unfamiliar with, and that added to the concern of the injury itself. And again, the stat sheets showed that it was the kind of night a future top 5 all-time player would produce after missing 11 games. I think that's the best way to describe it. The loss was disappointing, but first, have to talk about LinkedIn. If you're a small business owner or hiring manager, success in 2023 depends on the team members you surround yourself with, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. Everyone looking for jobs is on LinkedIn. Every headhunter is on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn Jobs is there if you're a business owner looking to find the best talent available. They go beyond resume data. You get insights from your job post, the company. There's 875 million member profiles that you could put your post in front of if you go to LinkedIn Jobs. So definitely go check that out. If you're a small business owner, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. One final segment as we're wrapping things up. Rain, you got my attention with that one. Rain King GW writes, Anthony Lamb should be on LinkedIn Jobs. I think he should just be on LinkedIn, actually, and then hopefully someone with LinkedIn Jobs discovers him. Yeah, not a great night for Anthony Lamb, and I don't want to harp too much. I've done my share on both the two-way guys all season long. Just to recap, though, in 17 minutes of play, 8 points, a -7 in the plus-minus. In fact, the only bench player who was in the negative in the plus-minus. The three-point shot just was not there tonight. Although I guess he according to this, he went 1 for 2. I feel like he missed more than that, but never mind. But he won 1 for 5 from the field on total for the night. Just had 2 rebounds. Again, in 17 minutes of play. Ty Jerome, the other two-way player, in 9 minutes of play, 4 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, no 3-point attempts. So yeah, there you go. Steph Curry. Actually, let me see what's going on in the chat. Anyone else, real quick, before I play this other Steve Kerr soundbite. Rebel the Sounds talks about the team's defense. Agreed. Shin Yokoyama writes that Dwight Howard wants to play here. I've been saying I would love that addition. I mean, why not? I cannot see how that could hurt the situation. It just gives you front court depth. Just gives some sort of breather to these tired front court players. I touched on this with Janelle Moore on yesterday's show. How it's wild that Steve Kerr comes out and says that because of injuries and other reasons that Draymond Green and Kevon Looney have been kind of like pushed to the limit of their energy and of their will. When a lot of that is of his own making. I mean, how many DNPs has Wiseman, Kuminga, JaMychal Green? I mean, those are the 3 main players that are backing those 2 guys up. How many times have you just benched them and forced Draymond Green to play 35, 40 minutes, or Kevon Looney, who's having a career high in minutes per game? That was a really weird comment from Steve Kerr, but Kylan's been saying this. I'm saying I agree. They need reinforcements. They need something. Use that 15th roster spot. Do something. I don't know if the buyout market is what Bob Myers is kind of creeping over, checking out. Who knows? But here's the other soundbite from Steve Kerr following tonight's loss. again, the Warriors, I'll read the standings in just a minute, but yeah, they've fallen below. Oh, wait a second. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Sometimes these things happen during live shows. All right, so here's Steve Kerr talking about his players
them
not showing up
and got
tonight.
back in the game. And I know obviously you can't do that.
I actually told the coaches I think this could be a good thing for us, honestly. You need to get a wake-up call. You need to be reminded how hard it is to win. And you need to understand the level of commitment to each other, to the game that it takes to win a title. Our vets know that. Our young guys are still learning all that, but hopefully this is the jolt that we need to get ourselves going, because this first half of the season has been full of stops and starts.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, the first half of the season is very reminiscent of 2021. If you remember that Warriors team, that was the one where James Wiseman I think, started 26 games. Stephen Curry's first year back after missing nearly a whole season due to that handy. And that team struggled for most of the season to get over the hump and really push past the 500 record and the 500 mark until the very end of the season. And they went on a late season push, finished the season 6 games over 500, but then failed to get out of the play-in. I think this team is clearly better than that team. Just having Klay Thompson alone makes a difference. But this team's also thin. And that's a problem. This is not a very deep team. Some nights it feels like they are, and then there's a lot of nights though where they don't. And there is some remnants of 2021 lurking in there. But again, the difference is this is a defending world championship team. So it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Bob Myers? And Kerr, what are you going to do in terms of playing your young guys? Talking about, I love how he said the young guys. Like, none of the young guys were playing tonight. Did Moses Moody play? Moses Moody, how did you feel about your DNP tonight?
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, of course it sucks, man. What the hell, dude? Yeah, I don't get any of that. All right, so I'm going to go join the Krug show. Again, I'll be gone for about a week. What the hell is going on here? Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, but again, I'll be back next week. I got this thing on my face. It's, what are you gonna do in life? It's stuff happens, you deal with it. So be nice to Kylan, please, when she hosts the show. I don't think she's gonna do it live though. I think she's gonna record it, but she'll have the coverage for the remainder of the week. Trey Underwood, by the way, good point. For those of you that pined, myself included, for Otto Porter Jr. and was disappointed the Warriors did not match a 2-year, $12 million contract that the Toronto Raptors gave to OPJ. Although I've also heard people say that he would have left regardless just because he's got family there. I think his wife has Toronto roots. But he's played, I think, 8 games all season, and he's officially out for the year with a left foot injury. So that's a good point. Also want to give some love real quick. No, Gary Payne II, Andre, is not gone for the year. I think he's, unless that's news that I missed, he missed a good portion of the early part of the year, but he's playing now. I do want to real quick talk about Steph before we go. I almost forgot about that. And Klay. I mean, Klay Thompson, look, I mean, if there is a positive, I found one. Yes, I said way at the beginning of the show, hopefully I will find a positive for tonight's show, and I did, and that's Klay Thompson. Yes, he missed the Magic game, and I do feel like if Klay plays, they win that game. But he's back tonight. Thank goodness that the knee soreness thing is not serious. 10 for 24 from the field, 6 of 14 from 3. Not great, but good. And he finished with 29 points to lead the Warriors. So if there's any bright side, I think that might be it. Klay Thompson is back. And then, of course, Stephen Curry, his first game back after missing 11 games. He played 31 minutes, which was a lot higher than I expected. Some people might think that's a negative because this team should have enough depth to let Curry and all these guys play less minutes. But nonetheless, this is the situation the Warriors find themselves in. They have to play these aging veterans a lot of minutes if they just want to survive the regular season. So Stephen Curry, 31 minutes, 16 seconds of play. He was 5 for 15 from beyond the arc, finished with 24 points. He unfortunately also led the Warriors in negative plus minus. He was minus 19. And as I mentioned before, Andrew Wiggins, I don't think he looks quite back yet. He's getting there one game at a time. Again, he missed 15 games. That's a good stretch of the season. Had 10 points tonight, 5 rebounds, but you could just see him at times getting winded. I saw him getting like pushed over for a rebound where normally he just would have the veracity and the fight to grab those kinds of tough boards. So he's not back yet, but it doesn't mean that this team should have lost to the Phoenix Suns tonight. That was just that was embarrassing. So we'll see what happens when the Warriors are back Friday the 13th. That is their next game, and it's widely reported that it could be the most attended basketball game in NBA history. I think they were playing at the old Alamo Dome in San Antonio. It's a 4:30 tip here on the West Coast. And let's hope that they turn the ship around and at a minimum turn around that atrocious road record. Just another reminder yet again, looking at the standings, which clearly did not favor the Warriors after tonight. The Warriors are now in the 8th seed. They're tied with Minnesota. That sucks. I saw that earlier tonight, and that just made me cringe. I don't know how you folks feel, but the Golden State Warriors at the midway point of the season, game 41, have the same record as the Minnesota Timberwolves. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't like that. And I don't like the fact that the Warriors, again, they have a 3-16 road record, far and away the worst road record in the NBA. If you're going to turn that around, if you're going to show the world and your fan base and prove to yourselves you can win a road game, you have to do it in San Antonio, please. So yeah, let's hope they get a win on Friday. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining the party, or I wish I could call it a party. I'm going to go to Larry Krueger's show for a little bit right now. And then I'm going to get some surgery on my face. I'll see you folks next week. Colin Mills will helm the final show of the week, either tomorrow or Friday. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, thanks everyone. And let's hope the Warriors turn it around on Friday. And until then, stay dry. These storms in the Bay Area are absolutely insane. Thanks everyone. Later.